Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ango Show Live. It is March 13th, 2025. Happy 313 day here from the Detroit area. My name is Ango, and today I am joined by Billy TKO. Billy, what's up, brother?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good, man. Listen, obviously we got to talk about AEW Dynamite. We're going to talk a little bit about WWE Evolve. Also, some big canceled TNA plans that might shock you. I know you in particular might be very interested in this topic, believe it or not. So we will talk about that. And obviously, a lot of things happening in the world of professional wrestling. Dynamite last night was it was interesting, man. They're saying Billy's mic is a little low. Billy, can you do me a favor and talk?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Maybe move your mic just a little up, huh?
Yeah, maybe I could bring it up a little bit.
There we go. That sounds a little bit better.
Yeah, hey, what's going on, guys?
Perfect. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ango Show. If you want to support the show, listen, I would really appreciate it if you guys clicked like on the stream. We are live on YouTube and Twitter and TikTok and this and that and blah, 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 blah. But if you guys could like and share and do all that good stuff, it would be greatly appreciated. And if you guys want to hook a brother up, we do have our super chat goal active. This guarantees that your questions and comments get read. I'll also be paying attention very closely to our TikTok chat because people have been pulling up in TikTok lately, and that's been really great to see. And obviously, for those who don't know, I'm actually posting TikToks again. So we are back at that, trying to see what we can do on the TikTok thing, and that makes it really fun and all that good stuff. But last night was Dynamite, and believe it or not, I actually somewhat enjoyed the episode yesterday. I know, that's really shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, considering we have a disagreement here.
You didn't enjoy it?
No.
What is this bullshit with Billy, bro? You're so hard to figure out. You are like, I don't know.
Can I be honest with you? Can I be honest?
Don't ask me if you could be honest, brother. Just tell me.
So it's not that I hated the show, it's that I hated the follow-up.
Explain.
The show was not horrible. It was just things that they did, like announcing a street fight or having MVP come out with MJF, and just things didn't necessarily line up maybe the way that I had anticipated them to. So this is just my own disappointment rather than maybe somebody else's disappointment, if that makes sense. I'm not going to go shit all over AEW. They're having some problems. They're trying to get it on track, but I think that they're just doing it the wrong way, in my personal opinion.
So I think it's really interesting that you say that because, quite frankly, I thought AEW did a decent job following up Revolution. There were some things I definitely just didn't care about. Absolutely. But you know, the thing is, if you guys listen to what I ask for, on my YouTube channel and on my live streams, what I ask for, my criteria for professional wrestling, I think it is very well documented and very well known that, you know, I care about characters, I care about storylines, I care about getting invested in the characters and the people portrayed on TV. And I actually got that last night. Honestly, one of the things that actually made me really happy was the fact that we got that segment with the patriarchy. We got, you know, Megan Bain.
I didn't hate that. Yeah, with the Megan Bain stuff was cool. The Christian stuff was cool.
I thought so. Like, I think when I was watching Dynamite last night, I understand your mentality of like you don't believe it was that great of an episode. It wasn't that great to a follow up for Revolution.
And I want to preface, like, this is like my own personal opinion, right? It's not that it was a bad episode and it was just bad because it was bad. No, it was bad because of the way that maybe I had wanted things to go. So it's just a personal thing rather than an actual problem, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to give you guys my opinion, and then Billy, I'll have you respond.
For sure.
So when I was watching Dynamite last night, one of the things, as everybody knows, I care about stories and getting invested in people and what they're doing on TV, right? And so they did a couple things last night on Dynamite where I was like, okay, this was actually really good. So the patriarchy thing was really cool, in my opinion. I love the fact that Christian really went off on Nick Wayne's mom. I love the fact that he went off on Nick Wayne. And I love the fact that Nick Wayne was like, hold on, you owe us an apology. And he went face to face with Christian. He didn't show fear in his eyes. To me, Nick Wayne is somebody who I've seen him before, even joining AEW. And since he's been in AEW, there's really been nothing other than the fact that he's a good wrestler. I like the fact that I got to see him stand up against Christian. Another thing is, obviously, I mentioned Megan Bain. You know, Tony Storm needs a big program. Tony Storm cuts a hell of a promo. Tony Storm is the MVP of this company, and you got to use that as an opportunity to help build up somebody who might be relatively unknown. So Megan Bain not only beat the hell out of Tony Storm, but then we even seen her later in the night.
Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale.
Exactly. So to me, I see those were two really good areas in the show where it's like, okay, I'm asking to get invested in your characters in your professional wrestling company, and they did that. Now, obviously on Dynamite, the one thing that's really going to piss me off, and it's going to continue to piss me off, is exactly what we saw with the street fight announcement being made between Cope and John Moxley, because we saw Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland won the number one contenders match, and on Dynamite, now they're going to go have next week John Moxley versus Cope again, which basically means they had some other plans that they were going to do at Revolution. They didn't do it. Now they're going to do it there. And I think maybe that's going to lead to FTR getting involved. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this Death Rider storyline is the thing that is not coming across as a win for this company. And here's the thing. I will say this. When you watch AEW Revolution and you see all these great matches, right? You have Will Ospreay coming out and cutting a promo, and he's talking about the Owen Hart tournament, and he's, you know, he points to the All In sign, and like, that's cool. I'm happy for that. But there's got to be a way for us to get even more invested in some of the things that are happening in TV. And I felt like maybe that's where they dropped the ball. They did a really good job with the patriarchy. They did a really good job, obviously, with Nick Wayne and Mama Wayne, and Christian's a hell of a promo. And I love the fact that he talked about, you know, he needs to be reinstated with his contract. That was cool. And I love the Tony Storm thing. And listen, I love the Speedball Mike Bailey debut. But all they did was tell me that Speedball Mike Bailey is just a good wrestler. And I need them to do a little bit more than that. Do what they did. Look, I'm not even a fan of the Ricochet stuff because I just think it's corny and it's cringe. But I'm at least smart enough to at least acknowledge the fact Ricochet has a character and people are watching it, right? And so the thing is, it ends up becoming a whole situation where I'm watching a show and half of it I get invested into and half of it is, well, here's just some really good matches. Well, if you want me to get behind the really good matches, you got to do something like you did with Ricochet, in the sense that, like, at least Ricochet is cringy and it's corny and maybe I don't like it, but I understand that people will get invested in that. So it's time that you kind of replicate that across the board with other people. And that's where I feel like they just made, they kind of dropped the ball.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest talking points for me, at least, I hear everything that you're talking about with the patriarchy and stuff like that. I was a fan of that. I didn't hate that. What I hated was the announcement of a tournament, right? We talked about it a little bit yesterday. We knew that they were announcing a tournament. We knew we were getting some wild card. Like you kind of said there a moment ago, Speedball was just kind of there to show that he was a good wrestler, which we already knew in the first place. But on top of that, this whole tournament within itself just feels like, we talk about predictability, right? And one of the big arguments that we've made for such a long time is that, dude, we don't want our intelligence insulted, right? I think as wrestling fans, we can all agree there. And what AEW has done, at least in this specific aspect, right? I don't want to go shitting on everything. It's just on this specific aspect, is that, hey, we're being super predictable here. We're just going to tell you, like, hey, yeah, we're going to give Kenny Omega an opponent. Whoever that opponent is going to lose at Dynasty, because you know the end goal that Tony wants is him and Okada at All In. And they know that they want both of those titles on the line at All In. So it just feels like, for a quick second, like, hey, why are we even doing this tournament? Why couldn't we build somebody up in a good feud with Kenny Omega to let that make sense, rather than a 2-3 week tournament, whatever, just to finally get one segment between the two right before the pay-per-view? I hate that. I do. I genuinely do. I don't like that is even a thing. No, somebody like Ricochet, for instance, right? should have been a perfect person to go into a match for the international championship. He cut a promo yesterday. He said, I know he's in the tournament, but he cut that promo saying like, oh yeah, you thought I was done chasing gold, whatever. The road was ugly anyways. And he just went on to explain how he's going to go face Kenny Omega. It's like that should have been the beginner. It's very simple storytelling. You could just have him go out, be the shitbag heel that he's become, have him face Kenny Omega at Dynasty, let them build a program and let that program make sense. That, for me, was one of the things that kind of tore me away from this episode, and which sucks because that's what opened the episode. So there were great things. There were follow-ups. There were all of those things. But when I see that, I feel like my intelligence is being insulted. And I feel like even to the people that disagree, at some point you have to look at this and be like, okay, maybe this is a tad bit of a problem. Maybe this is not something that I want to see on my TV, because Tony's been great with tournaments and stuff like that. He's done them for as long as I can remember, but this just felt like a situation where they did not have to do it, and they could have just built a program behind it. And you could have easily made it believable for me, and you didn't have to insult my intelligence with
Absolutely.
that.
Phil kicking things off with a $9.99 super chat. He says, I saw some things I liked about last night, but the overall episode to me wasn't as good as it could have been. Unpredictability is like a plague in AEW, and they're doing part 2 to a terrible main event. So this is one of the biggest concerns that I have about AEW at a time where, like, I understand people will say don't compare to WWE and stuff, but if you're going to be a matchmaker, and Tony Khan is crafting matches better than stories, right? It's
Most
very
people,
clear.
yeah.
Tony Khan knows how to put together matches. I will give him that.
Yeah.
He is a matchmaker. He knows what matches will come out and be great matches. That's cool and that's awesome. However, I think really what that's led to is the fact that it's predictable, because you are offering a tournament for the international championship. Guys, they've already planted that seed between Kenny and Okada when Kenny should have been going after the Elite for being, attacked while having diverticulitis. They completely dropped that, but they planted the seed for All In, Kenny and Okada. Hold on, Billy, because here's the thing. This is where it goes back to being predictable. So you do this international championship thing, you bring out Speedball Mike Bailey, and I love the guy, and he has a great match against the Beast Mordos, and that's awesome, and you're doing this tournament, and that's awesome, but these tournaments in professional wrestling is getting played out. I'm tired of WWE doing these tournaments and triple threat matches to crown a number one contender. I'm tired of AEW doing these tournaments to crown a number one contender, because at the end of the day, what it really tells me is this is AEW just simply being lazy. It tells me that they're being lazy in a time period where WWE is now showing us anything can happen. And that's the big thing. We don't want to compare to WWE, but I think everybody could agree it is really nice when you are completely shocked and surprised with something that you didn't see coming. So when you watch AEW, and it goes back to the super chat, but when you watch AEW and you see that it is very predictable, it is becoming a problem. And it's becoming a problem to the point where, like, you can't really get invested long term. You want to give me the good matches, that's cool, but it's lazy booking in the sense of, I don't know how to create a great, compelling storyline for somebody to go up against Kenny. And you can't bring up the Okada thing because that's too many months too late. The Okada and Kenny thing at All In was like, that was ridiculous. They should have bounced right into that. But instead, it's crazy to me. It doesn't make sense, bro.
So a lot of people's argument, because I heard what you're saying with the comparisons to WWE, a lot of people, their argument towards this is that WWE in some senses can be predictable, which is true. WWE, we knew watching that, hey, Cody's not going to drop the title probably until WrestleMania. We had speculations of like, oh yeah, maybe he could drop it beforehand, whatever. There were numerous things, especially coming off that long title run. And I'm mesh this all into Phil's super chat here. WWE can be predictable, but the thing about it is not everything is totally predictable. I mean, it's as simple as going back to 2 weeks ago with the Io Sky situation. It's unpredictable. We didn't think that was going to happen. In fact, we thought it was bound, set in stone, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, WrestleMania. That was the move that they were going with. But instead, they chose to give us what we believe now is going to be a triple threat match, and they still have yet to even say if that's a thing or not. So WWE has taught us that as much as things are predictable, there's a line that's drawn that is completely unpredictable. Now here in AEW, they drop the ball on storylines sometimes, which I hate. I hated talking about, the Elite in the Kenny Omega situation. But also the predictability behind this. It's like, yeah, this seems like a safe cop-out for AEW in this regard of like, hey, we're going to put on a tournament just because we know we need an opponent for Kenny, because ultimately you know what it's leading to. But like Ango said a moment ago, it feels like many months too late, especially because this Okada situation, they're not even going to do it until July. And we still have many, many months until July. So what? We're going to hold Kenny and Okada away from each other till what? Maybe May, June, and then you start to build it. It's like, if you really wanted to do like a good job at telling me a story and really being unpredictable, is you start getting them involved with one another. You start putting them near one another. And I think that's the best way to do it. And that's how you can people can start speculating and start creating what could be predictable and what could be unpredictable. The thing about AEW right now is that we don't have a lot of good talking points. Every talking point that we have is just like this. It's conversations of like, oh, well, this was bad or this was good. Nothing is drawn out. There's no like line there, if that makes any sense. I know I probably rambled for a second.
No, you're good. So
but go ahead. I'll let you go.
I was going to say, so what you're saying, it makes sense, just so you know. It 100% makes sense. I think one of the biggest... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, okay, like I'm glad that made sense in some regard.
Yeah, no, it definitely made sense. I think one of the biggest things that I'm noticing about AEW, though, is just like, you have such a mixed bag of reactions. So you got people coming out saying this is the worst episode of Dynamite, and then you have people like me saying, hey, like there was some pretty damn cool stuff that happened here, but then there was a lot of things I didn't like. And I think
things flip-flop, and things really do. They flip-flop. Like one week I'm saying like, oh yeah, it was great, and here we are next week. I have my own disbeliefs on things, and you have your beliefs that some things were good. There's no like straightforward line here of like, oh yeah, that was really good. We all agree on it. No, it's every week is kind of back and forth.
And obviously, Tony Khan is not booking specifically to please Ango. I'm not dumb, right?
No. We're not saying that.
But there is a problem that I've been outlining since 2019, and it's more relevant in 2025. And as time goes on, it becomes more relevant. And what that is to me is the fact that I think AEW just has a distorted vision of what their product is supposed to be and how it's supposed to be. And I'm going to give you an example, okay? So, for example, you get MJF and Hangman Page at Revolution. After Revolution, MJF crashes out. Now you got MVP going up to MJF on Dynamite. Okay, some people didn't like this. The reason why I liked it was because they kind of explained their history and it allowed both of them to cut a promo. However, what this didn't do was necessarily set up a big story for MJF. Now, maybe my belief is that it's going to lead to MJF beefing with the Hurt Syndicate. I don't know. But my point that I'm making is you just followed up with Revolution. Dynasty is April 6th, which is less than a full month away. You got to use this time, these 2 hours on Dynamite, to start setting up some of those bigger programs. And you got to do it in a way where people are immediately bought in. So when you have people saying, hey, this was a really bad episode, this was the worst episode, and then you have people like me saying, hey, there was some really good stuff, but then some things I didn't like. What I'm really coming to the agreement with myself is that I think Tony Khan doesn't know what his product is. I genuinely don't believe Tony Khan knows what AEW is. And I'm going to give you a good example of this. When you have Tony Storm get attacked by Megan Bayne, then Megan Bayne goes after Chris Statlander. Congratulations, Tony Khan. You're finally getting me bought into Megan Bayne. That's what she should be doing. Nobody who really watches professional, like the hardcore fans who watch professional wrestling know Megan Bayne, but that's because they also watch Stardom. They might have watched GCW. Yeah. But for a person flipping through channels, they might not know who Megan Bayne is. She comes out, right. She looks great. She does the F5. Awesome. I'm all for it. You're getting me invested. Same thing with the Nick Wayne, Christian Cage thing. You're getting me invested. But I don't think Tony Khan knows what AEW is, because for some of these great things that they do, then you're going back to Adam Copeland and Jon Moxley, which, by the way, it is pretty much a uniform decision by most wrestling fans. It sucks. So not only do I think Tony Khan's vision is distorted, but I think Tony Khan, in a weird way, it's not, oh, Tony Khan is playing with my toys. It's Tony Khan is going to do what Tony Khan wants to do without necessarily actually listening to what the people want. And what the people want, it's very clear. People want wrestlers to have, and this is the big thing, they want wrestlers to have a reason to be invested in them. So, for example, Harley Cameron gets over organically within AEW, right? And now she loses at Grand Slam Australia, and people are like, it's okay because AEW will do great things with her. Meanwhile, she's dressed up as Harley Graham, and it's a comedic thing. So at the end of the day, when Ango for many, many, many years says AEW doesn't know how to follow up with people when they get momentum, I am not lying to you because look at what the fuck they're doing. So my point that I'm making here is AEW was a very solid episode last night, in my opinion, because you got me invested in some people. But historically speaking, AEW has told me if I get you invested in somebody, there is a ceiling on that because I'm going to do things the way I want to do things. And that's exactly why you see Copeland and Moxley fighting again next week. That's the reason why Harley Cameron is dressed up as Harley Graham, and that's why you see all this bullshit. It is the most inconsistent product from top to bottom. For every good thing Tony Khan can do, he has 5 other shit ideas, and that's the shit execution, and that's the thing. A lot of people call this grifting, a lot of people call this hatred, but where is the freaking lie? At some point, the AEW sickos have to look at the product and be like, damn, yeah, Wardlow caught a lot of momentum and it got derailed. And then they like to use the word injury because that's the thing. Well, what about in the situations where people aren't injured and they don't do it? So again, you have to look at the facts, you have to see what they're doing, and you just have to realize that AEW does not have a clear vision of what the product is. And the final example to back up my point is the Kenny Omega International Championship Tournament. Because you're doing another tournament to crown a winner for Kenny Omega. And it goes back to when the Elite storyline got dropped, what did they do? Kenny Omega got his ass beat while having diverticulitis, and then the storyline gets dropped. He comes back and he goes face-to-face with Okada. Instead of beating Okada's ass, he goes face-to-face, and they have the all-in graphic thing behind them. So now you have the Continental Champion and Kenny Omega International Champion. Oh, and supposedly there's rumors of the titles being unified. Well, thank you, because now you just made it very clear that this tournament absolutely fucking means nothing, regardless of who wins, which now tells me all those competitors in there are going to lose to Kenny. And basically what you're doing is telling me any person who feuds with Okada is basically going to lose because Tony Khan's vision is strictly Okada and Kenny at All In. And instead, what they're doing is ignoring months because All In's in July. Now you have months of where you're basically being lazy until we get to that point. And that's the problem.
It's like, what happens at Double or Nothing? What happens at, do they have a pay-per-view following Double or Nothing? I think it's All In after Double or Nothing.
Dynasty,
still,
and then
Double or Nothing.
Dynasty, Double or Nothing. And then I think they do one more. I want to say I want to say there's one more, but I can't remember. It's the maybe it's not Forbidden Door, is it? I don't know. I can't remember, but
oh no, it might be Forbidden Door. Yeah, I think you're right.
I can't remember, but yeah.
But regardless of the fact, you have pay-per-views that are in between that to try to sell, but essentially you're just telling me like, oh, okay, Okada and Kenny, that's what it is, and it's not going to be until All In. So I can just predict very easily that up until that point, well, those two are going to hold on to their championships. And I think what Ango is trying to say in like simple form is, dude, AEW's just lost their identity. And I even hate to say that, right? Because I don't care what nobody says. A lot of people are whether you're new to me, whether you're not, I mean, the truth of the matter is I was a very, very big AEW fan, and I will continue to watch just because I enjoy some of the wrestlers and things like that are on TV. So I'll continue giving my my takes and stuff on AEW, but the truth of the matter is that they lost their sense of identity, and when you lose that, it's hard to regain, but it's not impossible as long as you're open to criticism. So I just hope, and whoever is watching this, I just hope that, you know, they can, you know, put the wall down and realize that criticism is okay. And a lot of us content creators, we're not coming from a bad place. You know, somebody like Ango, who was a very, very huge fan of AEW, he covered it for a really long time. That was actually how I found out about him to begin with. Just remember that criticism is okay, and it's not coming from a place of hate. and it's not coming from a place of anger. It's just coming from a place of wanting to see you do better.
I think it also comes from a place of confusion. I'm confused. I don't know. Like it's weird. Yeah. Identity problems, bro. AEW has an identity problem. That's what it comes down to. Tolino Channel dropped 2 super chats. The chat has been moving so fast. So the first one, I'll have to go back and look for it. But the second one is Death Riders is similar to EC3's Control Your Narrative. We don't know what is the ultimate goal of both. Hope is making a joke of a past accomplishment. Yeah, I mean, the Death Rider thing is literally just a joke at this point. I can't sit there and deny it.
People are going to shit on it.
You know, it's funny because you know that overwhelmingly everybody hates it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a couple people that try to defend it and like try to be like, oh yeah, this is good, and then they like almost like force themselves to believe that it's good.
It's not good. It hasn't been good. It started off hot and it completely sucked. And the thing is, the reality is, it's very clear that everybody hates it. And the Death Rider thing, man, it's just like you gotta like, how do you not pay attention to what your audience is asking for? Like, I hate saying this, but I swear to God, like if AEW had I genuinely think the reason why it sucks is because somebody didn't fucking Google how hard it is to actually climb Mount Everest, because I think they wanted Darby to have that belt. There was rumors that it was going to be Darby versus Bryan, then Jon Moxley got it, and I think they're very keen on Darby winning the belt. And I promise you, if Darby Allin comes back after the summer and wins the world title from Jon Moxley and he ends the Death Rider storyline, I mean, you could kiss my ass goodbye. I'm not watching that shit. Because at that point, you're going to make me struggle for months and months and months because you don't know how to fucking plan. No.
And you were just so stuck on the Darby Allin
Press the reset button, give it to Swerve. Swerve is a fucking great champion for your company. Just do it.
And he's been great all around.
Bro. Thank you, Tolino Channel, for that super chat. I did want to read his other super chat. I can't pull it up on the screen because it's too late, because the chat is going so fast. But he says, like commentary said in Evolve, it's the last chance for Kylie Ray. I was a huge fan of her in TNA before she announced the early retirement. Things took a downfall for her. She needs to shine. A lot of people forget that Kylie Ray was in AEW, and there was a very dramatic exit from the company. A lot of people don't
remember that.
A lot of people don't remember that. People say that there's a lot of NDAs involved, and I have no idea what's happening there. But I'm a huge fan of Kylie Ray. I thought she was awesome in AEW. Smiley Kylie was great. Honestly, I'm shocked that WWE just didn't sign her when she was on WWE Main Event. But you know, the truth is, Kylie Ray is great. She was great in Impact, and then obviously she did her early retirement. I would love to see her do well in WWE and have a great comeback story.
For sure. That'd be awesome. Love to see things like that happen.
Yeah. Shout out to Tolino Channel for those super chats. Let me see if I can filter. You guys are moving so fast in the chat that it's actually hard to pull up all the donations. So I'm going to have to read them. This is a learning lesson, guys. Maybe we got to be quicker with this. You guys are a great chat.
Oh, yeah.
Lewis Bradley dropped $5. He says Tony makes the matches but should hire a writer to get them there, with also a look ahead that could lead to All In each time. Well, if you know your long-term plan, you could do that.
Yeah.
You know, that's really what it is. If you know your long-term plan, you could do that. But I don't think Tony Khan really knows his long-term plan, because they start and stop pushes and start and stop things.
No, Tony's very much it's almost like living paycheck to paycheck. That seems to be where Tony Khan is at right now. He's living paycheck to paycheck, but instead of that, it's week to week.
The thing is, he's not really paycheck to paycheck. He's a billionaire, bro.
Well, no.
I know. But what I'm saying is, if you're a billionaire, you shouldn't be living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh yeah, very true. But
so you shouldn't be thinking week to week.
But the thing about it is, when you're a billionaire, you get stagnant, you get comfortable.
Don't get comfortable. How do you get comfortable when your shows?
You shouldn't.
How do you get comfortable when NXT's whooping your fucking ass in ratings every week, bro? How do you get comfortable when CM Punk leaves your company and everything goes to shit?
I've been saying, like,
how
I get
though?
it.
How do you get comfortable?
You shouldn't. No, this is the thing. Is hard work creates hard work. So you should never, be comfortable with where you're at. And sadly, that's just the point that we've reached. We're in a place of comfortability. Oh, well, regardless of the fact, no matter how many viewers I got, they're going to tune in. I got money to feed it. They're going to tune in. It's good. Now, whether or not you're, again, open to criticism or not, That's your question here. Is are we open to criticism? Are we open to changing some of our ways? Now, until Tony Khan figures out that problem, well, you could just, I mean, everything is going to continue. This conversation is going to continue and continue and continue. And it's crazy that he shitted on somebody for so many years. And you've seen it on his TV program. He shitted on a gentleman named Vince McMahon for so long, and he shitted on his product. And then, sadly, has turned into what that problem is or was.
Yeah. Just a quick shout out to those on TikTok. Jar Jar says he's a huge fan from Arkansas, so shout out to Jar Jar. He became the #1 gifter badge. And shout out to Khalil Fleming for liking the stream as well. Thank you guys. If we could get TikTok to 1,000 or 2,000 likes, I don't know. We've been killing it with the likes on TikTok, so I appreciate that. And I believe the more likes, the more the streams get pushed on TikTok. So as we try to grow the base,
TikTok is very big with the live streams.
Yeah, so we're obviously working hard on that. I did want to read the super chat from Phil. He came through with $4.99. He says, "I've been a supporter of AEW since day one, and I'll always say that them being here is better for the industry, but they're losing my trust, and I hate that." Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's like, dude, if you say this, you're the bad guy. But I genuinely just can't get excited about everything they're doing, and it's so weird. Billy, maybe you could chime in on this, but like, I didn't expect to enjoy Dynamite as much as I did last night. But I still watch the show and I think of the flaws. And the thing is, like, the issue is, like, really the one major reason why I was tuning in, obviously it was a follow-up to Revolution. But I was so happy to hear that Speedball Mike Bailey got a contract with AEW. There was so much talk about Speedball Mike Bailey going to WWE or AEW, and to me it didn't matter which company because I was just genuinely happy for the guy. He was one of those guys backstage at TNA that was just incredibly nice. And just an incredibly cool dude. And so when you meet people,
when you meet the human,
and you like, damn, bro, this guy loves wrestling. He understands it incredibly well. And he's just a genuinely good dude. Bro, I want to support you through and through. I've been watching your work for years and I know who you are. But now that I've met you and I've talked to you, I want you to go and kill it because that's like a respectful thing. And by the way, for those who don't know, sometimes you meet wrestlers backstage and you meet people and they're kind of fucking dickheads. And I'm being honest, I have a list of them. There is a list. You guys will know one day who I'm talking about because I've kind of peeled back the curtain a little bit. But there are some wrestlers that are now in WWE or in AEW, and I've met them, and I think they're just fucking dickheads. I think they're pieces of shit. And to be honest with you, Speedball Mike Bailey is completely the opposite. So because of that reason, I believe, okay, I got to watch Speedball Mike Bailey. And what a great fucking debut. He goes out there and he wrestles. He does a great thing. Yeah. And it's like, it pisses me off because I know that even if he won the entire tournament and fought Kenny, it's going to be in a massive match with Speedball Mike Bailey losing. There's no way they have him go over Kenny if Kenny and Okada is the plan, right? So
I think that's the shitty part of it.
That's the shitty part. And so obviously I love Speedball Mike Bailey, but Bill is getting to the point where he's saying they're losing my trust and I hate that. Brother, they lost my trust 2022, 2021, because now the things that you guys are seeing today were things that were happening. It was happening back then. It just didn't happen all the time. And I used to tell Billy, I'm like, it's going to add up. You're going to see everything. I swear to God, I will never forget it. I could probably find the text messages to prove it. I have to go back 4 years to find it. But I used to tell Billy and I used to say, that's going to lead. Listen, this is a little trend that I'm noticing. It's going to lead to big problems. And now the thing is, people are noticing it, but now if you notice it, you're a grifter. Back then, it wasn't the case because Ango was 98% positive towards AEW. Now it's gotten to the point where Ango's 35% positive towards AEW. But the problem is, I've been calling it out for years. And Billy, you know I told you these things. And it sucks to be right, but that's why they haven't. It was expected for me. I expected this. I knew this was going to happen. And I think people like Phil and maybe you and some other people didn't necessarily expect it because you guys weren't paying attention that closely to those details. But now you're watching the program and you're like, damn, that is true. It is problematic.
So can I jump in for a second and be honest and say that, hey, I've never ever myself, speaking on myself, have never been afraid to hop in these live streams and get a little bit vulnerable because I am a vulnerable human. That's just who I am. Can't make it up. I watch AEW, and the reason why they quote unquote haven't lost my trust is because they've done things before that have made me mad, and they've pushed me away and things like that. It's kind of like a toxic ex, right? Where they just push you away and then they pull you back in, and then they push you away and then they pull you back in. The reason why I don't think they'll actually lose my trust and I'll continue to tune in is because I actually want to see them do great. I really do. I want to be able to sit here one day and come back to everybody and be like, hey, AEW fixed everything. Look at what they're doing now. This is the thing. In wrestling terms, we've always had one company doing really well, one company doing really bad, or just the one company doing bad within itself. But we can never just have a bunch of companies doing well. A bunch of pro wrestling companies doing fucking great all across the board. And something tells me that maybe one day we will have that. We will be able to see that. And I want to be a part of that. So I will come here week to week, AEW, talk about it, tell you if I liked it, tell you if I didn't. Because here's the thing. I'm human and I'm allowed to change my opinion. So you can't sit and critique me and say I'm wrong for changing my opinion. You just can't. It's who I am. I'm a human. I'm a human being who has different emotions, different feelings, and different takes towards things. So one week it could be really good. One week it could be really bad. Right now, there are some things that are good, some things that are bad. We're talking about them. It's okay to be human.
Yeah, it's not okay to be going back and forth with your toxic ex, though.
What?
It's not okay to go back and forth with your toxic ex.
It's probably not, but...
Not probably not. If she's toxic, stay away. And if AEW is becoming your toxic ex, stay away. Thank you to Phil for the super chat. Tolino Channel dropping 100
baby.
rupees.
I love the problems.
Oh, God. Tolino Channel with 100 rupee super chat. He says, ROH needs to be AEW's developmental territory. Look at those who hold ROH title in the past. There is a legacy for ROH. WWE and AEW benefited from ROH past alumni. Yeah, sorry, bud. That idea is probably never going to happen with AEW because, to be fair, to be very fair, ROH is being treated as another AEW show. Look at Jericho last night cutting a promo with the Mask of Gravity, and it's going to lead to Bandito beating Chris Jericho for the championship at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like ROH. I just feel like they need to change what ROH is. I don't think they will. ROH to me is. It's a struggle. You can't get me to support ROH in its current state.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched ROH at all.
It's not good, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's fair.
That's
very fair.
ROH is just dead to me. And it's sad.
I don't even know where to watch it if I'm being 100% honest. Where do you watch it at?
Watch ROH. It's their watch app.
Oh, is it on? Okay. It's on the Honor Club?
Yeah, Honor Club. I don't know. Do they call it Honor Club still, or is it Watch ROH? I think that's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Strangely enough, I don't know, Billy, if this is my channel or your channel. Did you get a super chat?
Maybe. Hold on. Let me go check. Oh my goodness. Who super chatted me?
Did you get one?
I'll tell you right now.
It's not letting me pull it up, but it looks like there was one that went through to your channel.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So shout out to Tolino Channel for that super chat. I can't pull up a super chat that goes to Billy's channel because it's not synchronized to my plugins and stuff. But Billy, if you could do us the honor of reading it and telling us what the super chat is and who sent it, and we'll address it.
This is from Ronnie Southern. He said, as of now, Kylie Ray is scheduled to appear at Maple Leaf Mayhem this weekend. This part of the Death Rider storyline, or the part of this Death Rider storyline I don't understand is why Moxley hides the title in a briefcase. So, Ronnie, I don't understand that either. I still haven't. It hasn't made sense to me. I know he's trying to hold AEW hostage, so he's not showing the title. Am I correct for saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I didn't even listen to a word you just said. It cut off. I just heard. Do I understand?
Did it cut off?
Yeah.
Oh well. Did you hear the super chat at least?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's good. As long as you heard the super chat, that's all that matters to me. Ronnie, bro, thank you for the super chat.
That's it? You're not going to address it anymore?
Well, he talked about why Moxley hides the title in the briefcase. I felt like, I don't know. It's very simple, right? I think it's strictly because of the fact that he's trying to hide it from AEW. He supposedly is supposed to hate the company.
I don't get the Death Rider shit, bro. I'm going to be honest.
I don't. But I did want to address, so Kylie Ray is going to be at Maple Leaf Mayhem this weekend. I did not know that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's she doing there?
She has a match. I don't know what it's going to be.
Oh.
I haven't seen the full match announcement, but I know she's there. AEW talent are there. WWE talent are there.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Shout out to...
Ronnie, thank you.
Yeah, shout out to Roddy. Excuse me.
Yeah, what's going on with you, man?
I don't know. Andre Benson dropping $5. He says, I'm with Phil. I'm getting to the point now. I'm not going to watch AW weekly shows just to the pay-per-view. Last night, to me, parts of the show felt like Rampage. Yeah, certain aspects felt like Rampage. The Chris Jericho stuff always feels like Rampage. I don't know, man. It's
like I said, it sucks we're at this point. Just hoping one day they come out of it.
Did you go live last night?
I didn't. I was, like I said, I told you kind of off stream. I was doing some stuff. My girlfriend came over, so. So for everybody in the chat who's telling me not to go back to a Toxic X, I didn't. I actually did not do that, but.
Yeah. Okay, no, I was just gonna say, like, I didn't know if you went live, so. I didn't get the notification, so that's why. But yeah, I think so.
But I will be live next week. I just had some things to do last night.
We're gonna hold Billy accountable. We'll see if he's live next week.
Bet it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Andre and Phil are kind of at the same thing that a lot of people are starting to feel. There are parts of Dynamite that felt like Rampage. Yeah, I don't know. I'm disappointed in the Harley Graham stuff though. Hologram, Harley Graham. That's how you capitalize on somebody's momentum.
I find it so funny. Can't stop laughing at it. But yeah, I agree. It's like Harley Cameron just had like the greatest month for her.
She got over, bro.
What'd you say?
She got over.
She by herself, authentically. And it's like just not capitalizing on it. Oh my goodness. Blows my mind.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. You know, it's sad. That's for sure.
It is.
Shout out to Andre Benson for the super chat. We got $2 from D-Rec Tube. ROH was a flex move to keep WWE from buying it. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Tony Khan, probably a very petty individual.
Well, at the time, it like made sense, right? Because especially going into Revolution that year with the dog collar match and wanting CM Punk to have his old team back and shit like that, like it made sense at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but ultimately, you see what it's done. So there you go. They didn't want WWE to turn it into just a tape library.
The thing about ROH, under Tony Khan, the one thing I'll give him credit is that he's a better owner than Sinclair Broadcasting. Sinclair Broadcasting was a shitty ass owner, bro.
Yeah.
Shitty ass owner.
And they just didn't know what to do with it.
And the thing is, like, people can sit and complain about ROH. I agree with D-Rec Tube. It was a flex move to keep WWE from buying it. But even at the state that ROH is currently in, and I'm not talking about creatively, but I'm talking about the ownership aspect of it. Tony Khan is a far better owner than Sinclair Broadcasting.
For sure. Like I said, even prior to, like I never knew where to watch Ring of Honor.
Yeah, the thing is
now there's some like kind of answer.
Yeah, but they need a TV deal, and the reason why they're not getting a TV deal, the reason why they're not getting a TV deal is because of the fact that AEW is like not they don't have a vision for Ring of Honor, to be honest. It crosses over.
Well,
Sammy
if you don't
Guevara
have a-
Sammy
if you
Guevara
don't
was
have a vision for Dynamite, then you definitely don't have a vision for Ring of
exactly.
Honor.
And how do you do, like, okay, bro, even though I'm not the biggest freaking Sammy Guevara fan, but I can't sit there and deny his talents, and you got him tag teaming with Dustin, and it's like they're fun to watch, but why not put them in the tag team division on Dynamite? Why is it on ROH, bro?
Been saying that shit. What the hell is Sammy Guevara doing? I've been a praiser of Sammy Guevara for quite some time, and I hate that he's not on my TV to watch.
Strange.
Stupid.
Shout out to D-Rec2 for the super chat. On your marks, Lou coming through with a $5 super chat. He says, happy Speedball has a job, but afraid he'll end up an afterthought in AEW. I feel like NXT would have been best, but hopefully TK lets him shine. It's hard to sit here and say, oh, what would have NXT done? What would have WWE done? I don't know. But what I will say is this. WWE has been far greater than AEW in introducing talent to the show. And when a talent gets momentum, WWE knows how to capitalize on it. The IWC actually hates that. It's funny. The IWC hates it when it's the person they don't want it to be. But the IWC doesn't mind it when AEW doesn't do it at all. It's so funny how the IWC works. And that's the hypocrisies that we see within the AEW sickos. But if you look at WWE and you look at what they could have done with Speedball, it's really, really hard to say. However, there was a time period, a lot of people don't know this, and I do bring it up every so often, but there was a time where Speedball Mike Bailey would have actually ended up in NXT at the time where Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Hideo Itami, and Finn Balor were there.
Oh, no shit.
But there was the travel ban situation with visa issue or whatever. But there was some talks that it was a very, very close thing to happening, and then it couldn't happen. I don't know if it was a travel ban or whatever it was. I don't know all the details on it, but that prevented it. There was something that prevented it like that. And I mean, Speedball Mike Bailey under Shawn Michaels right now probably would be great because Shawn Michaels lets people go out there and wrestle. And then, you know, the thing about Speedball is he's such a great performer. And he's one of those great performers where, like, he's just such a personable, likable guy where even if his strong suit isn't necessarily promos, there's a way to go about it, right? His partner is Vita Scott, who does commentary. And she does commentary on the indies and sometimes with New Japan and stuff like that. Vita Scott is great on the mic. So if they really wanted, they could have had her manage Speedball. You know, like if that's a concern, right? There's always a solution to somebody who's not a great promo. But Speedball, I feel like even if he were to cut a promo, people just like the guy. So they wouldn't really. It's like Javon Evans isn't a great promo, but he talks so naturally and he's just so gifted in the ring and he comes across as a likable guy where people are like, oh, we like this. It feels authentic. And I think Speedball kind of has that same thing, right? So, you know, with Speedball, if he would have gone to WWE NXT, I feel like it would have worked. I do hope, and I'm not going to say it just yet because we'll see, but I do hope he's not an afterthought in AEW because Speedball deserves better than that. And the thing is, the way I look at WWE's mid-card right now is that you could actually be a really good in-ring performer and be fine. And that's the one thing that's relatively nice about WWE. If you look at the US title and the IC title, like if you're a really, really good in-ring worker and cutting promos isn't your strong suit, WWE can make it work. So when you see guys that could cut promos, right? Like we were talking about Ethan Page or whatever, like the mid-card on Raw and SmackDown, when they call up some of these NXT guys, it's going to be great. And Speedball could have gone to WWE, and then eventually it's like, hey, man, let Speedball go after the Intercontinental Championship and go have bangers with guys. And if you're going to have him feud with Braun Breaker, like Braun Breaker is going to have a great match with Speedball. Speedball can make it work. He's the MVP of WrestleMania Indies, bro. The dude goes out there and has banger matches like 10 times in a weekend, and they're all 5-star, 10-star, 50-star matches on my scale.
WrestleMania weekend and shit like that.
Yeah, like he goes from one venue to another. He's literally the workhorse. So the thing is, like a guy like that is so respected, and I think he could flourish in WWE. And I think he could flourish in AEW too. I do think there is a ceiling, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with. Not everybody needs to be a world champion, but there's room for him to be a very, very, very solid upper mid-carder. The thing is, TK has to let him shine. And there is a favoritism thing in AEW. It's very clear if you watch AEW. If you are one of Tony Khan's favorite toys, you will have TV time. And if you're one of those toys that Tony Khan just sees, like, oh, you're my new shiny toy, and then he puts you away in the box, the toy box later on after.
Yeah.
That hurts you. So I hope Speedball is the toy that Tony Khan actually likes playing with and like actually utilizes, because that's the thing where it's like, okay, it's not a new shiny toy, it's the toy that lasts forever. And when you have, and I know it goes back to what I was saying about the AEW vision, but when you have a lack of vision, it's really hard to know who Tony Khan's going to push. At one point, we all thought Wardlow was going to be a world champion because they crafted that storyline so perfectly to the point where it made sense. And
well, it's crazy that we sit here and we talk about predictability and unpredictability, and the predictable side of it is what we're seeing on TV. The unpredictability is, how is Tony going to drop the ball? That's what the story's become, and that sucks.
Exactly. Shout out to On Your Marks Lou for the super chat. Tolino Channel dropping a super chat for 100 rupees. He says, do you think WWE has started plans for Moose if he will sign to WWE? Moose is getting a lot of praise for his match last week. There was, I mean, before he re-signed with TNA, there was talks that WWE was interested and they didn't sign him.
Yeah, they definitely wanted him.
They've wanted him several times throughout. Even when he used to be in ROH, they didn't sign him. So there was times where they were going to, they didn't. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but you know, with this partnership though, guess what? You don't need to.
Nope. He could just come to WWE as it makes sense for him too.
Yeah. So that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks for some guys where it's like, hey, we're probably not going to sign you because we could just use you through the partnership.
Yeah, I guess that does suck.
I mean, that sucks.
Oh.
Hey, you know what else sucks? Oh, by the way, thank you, Tolino Channel, for the super chat. You know what really sucks, though?
What's that?
And I'm just sorry, but I'm going to say it because it was the thing that I thought was the worst freaking thing on Dynamite. I'm just so tired of it.
What?
X-Caster sucks. He is the worst.
They've ruined that gentleman. Where's Anthony Bowens?
I don't know.
What happened to him?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know, but he should be a world champion in that company.
Yeah, he should be. Dude's great.
Max Caster's terrible. Nothing about his gimmick is like, to me, it's like, you're not good. You're not good, bro. Your promo, your rap skills, ass.
And that's crazy because we sang such a different praise in the Acclaimed.
Yeah. No, I was always an Anthony Bowens guy. He's great. He's fantastic. A true talent. He could be a great spokesperson for the company. He could be the guy where if you let him break through, he will do some great things. He can go to the red carpets. He can do galas, and he can go to and drop speeches and talk. And he's a great promo, and he's a great performer. Carries himself well. Max Caster to me is like, he's just not good. I don't think it's like cringy. It's like, I want to turn this shit off bad. Like, it's not like, bro, it's not like I'm booing you because you're a good heel. I'm booing you because it's like genuinely shit. And
like, bro, this shit sucks.
Yeah. And the thing is, he goes 10 times more like deep into it. And Max Caster, I just don't think I really didn't think he was good as part of the Acclaimed. I never really liked the Acclaimed like that. I always thought Anthony Bowens was the star of it. But the thing about Max Caster, like, he got his ass beat by Konosuke Takeshita, which is cool. I mean, good thing for Konosuke, but like, and I'm cool with the squash match. But to me, it just feels like Max Caster is one of those guys, he knows where people don't like him. And so, and he knows he's not cool, and he knows that people don't like him. So he tries to get more heat by doing those things. But you're not getting heat because you're good. Like, you're getting heat.
No, you're getting heat because people actually think this is shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I thought that was really terrible. Really, really terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
But yeah, solid AEW Dynamite. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. But there was a lot more things I liked about this Dynamite than a while.
Fair.
You know, I wanted to switch gears to something.
Yeah, come on.
Give me a second, because I gotta sneeze. Sorry about that. I just muted myself, so I didn't have to sneeze all over my microphone in front of you guys. Thank you. Okay, guys, ready? Let's switch gears. I'm gonna read you something. we're going to discuss. So for those who don't know, Moose tweeted, and he's sharing some stuff, some information, very interesting stuff. He says he shared a photo of him and CM Punk, and he said, "So while I was world champion in TNA, there was plans of Punk coming to TNA and us feuding. Punk versus Lesnar from Survivor Series 2013 or SummerSlam 2013, I don't know. Is one of my favorite matches ever. I was looking forward to recreating something just as awesome." And then he shared a photo of him and Moose. So, Billy, what's your reaction to knowing that CM Punk could have actually been in TNA?
Obviously, he was in TNA, like kind of, or in the earlier days of TNA. But the idea that he could have been a part of TNA and everything that they were doing, you know, is crazy to think about. Truth be told, him and Moose, that would have been fire, right? And I don't know, man. That's awesome to hear. I think it just kind of goes to everything. I see why earlier in the stream you said I might find interest in this. I see what you did there. The truth of it is like, yeah, I do find interest in this. This is actually really cool. And I think it's a sentiment to the human, right, that Punk is. I think no matter whether you love or hate him in the professional wrestling business, this dude is awesome all the way around. I've in like real life scenarios, I've only mainly heard good things about him besides the little shit in pro wrestling. Real life scenarios, I've only heard good things about him. And like, I don't know, man. The idea that he could have been in TNA is awesome. And it makes you question, could WWE potentially, because you got guys like AJ Styles, could they potentially do something with the main roster in TNA? Who knows?
I think that's a very interesting perspective, right? And you know, I remember at one point in time, I was actually telling you, like, there was rumors of Punk going to TNA, and it didn't really go in the IWC. There was really nothing in the IWC.
It was right after the AEW release, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember us having that conversation.
Yeah, I remember very specifically there was some talks, there was some rumors that like, hey, Punk going to TNA could very well happen.
Well, didn't he show up at some tapings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's I remember having those conversations with you. I'm like, hey, you never know. Obviously, there was the talks of him going back to WWE too, but just to think for a quick second, like with him going to TNA, you know, I know a lot of people don't remember this because people like it just flew by so quickly, but I was really, really hoping Will Ospreay would have signed with TNA because I felt like all TNA really needed was just one big, massive name that would have genuinely changed the trajectory for them. And then imagine if they would have signed that one major name and then they jumped into partnership with WWE. It would have been absolutely insane. It would have been.
They were doing some pretty big things at the time, right? With Will Ospreay. He was having really good matches on TNA at the time.
Yeah,
he wasn't signed.
He wasn't signed. He was just working with TNA. It was a goal of his, and then obviously at that time too, you know, there was rumors that TNA was going to try and get him to sign. I remember hearing, I don't know if it was actually true, but I remember hearing that, TNA was trying to offer Will Ospreay a contract and WWE was trying to offer Will Ospreay a contract. And basically Will Ospreay ended up taking AEW, which is fair. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But I just imagine, and I remember telling you at that time, like, dude, if TNA just signs that one massive name that is like loved and respected by wrestling fans, it changes everything for them.
It can change the trajectory of their company.
Yeah. And then
now keep in mind, this partnership has really helped change the direction of where TNA is going.
Yeah, for sure, of course. But imagine how much more different it would have been if they did land CM Punk. Because if you land CM Punk and then you get into partnership with WWE and CM Punk's in TNA, well, hey, you guys need AJ Styles, bring us CM Punk for a program. You know, obviously right now it worked out for everybody involved because TNA proves that they can be relevant and keep doing good stuff and they're selling tickets without necessarily having the massive name signed to their company. But then also, in addition to that, it shows you that TNA has never been one to rely on a single name, which is really, really cool. Under Anthem, thankfully, like even with Josh Alexander leaving, Speedball, Jordan Grace, they continue to pump out good content. It's just really interesting to think about what they could have done with Moose and CM Punk. And I just remember at the time just genuinely believing, like, how amazing would it be if TNA lands that one major name, because TNA was already showing under Anthem, they were already showing signs of like some really good stuff. You know what I mean? And they were already starting to rebound a little bit, and they were starting to do some cool stuff in that regard. So now it would have not only been, I think if you look at how things are in hindsight, obviously, but you see AEW's attendance going lower and lower, TV ratings going lower and lower. Okay, now you have the CM Punk drama. CM Punk's footage gets aired. Imagine if CM Punk was in TNA, like that immediately moves tickets for TNA. And then, okay, they get into partnership with WWE, and that partnership is already effectively helping them. Would that signing, and obviously this is hypothetical, but in hindsight, you have to wonder, okay, well, if they signed CM Punk, would that have pushed AEW to the number 3 promotion? And let me just be really clear. I don't know if the answer is yes, and I'm not necessarily proclaiming that it would be a yes, but it does make you wonder, would CM Punk been a difference changer, like a game changer for TNA? Because obviously a lot of AEW fans felt alienated after that situation with Punk leaving. You would have to wonder, at least the thought has to cross your mind at some point, oh my God, would that have sparked newer interest or more interest in the TNA brand? And part of me thinks to a certain extent, it actually could have.
Yeah, I think we'd be dumb to say that it wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Because the idea that he chose, and again, all hypothetical here, obviously, but he chooses TNA over WWE, and regardless, like he's just not going back to WWE. He's picking this company. That would volumes. And again, this is just personal belief. I think that's one of those things that really would have took TNA over the edge, and that would have put them kind of in that number 2 spot. I think you would have seen them sell out maybe something like an arena eventually, you know, giving them that full hype back. That's just my thought.
It's really crazy to think about, honestly. And what's really crazy is I wonder what they would have actually done with him and Moose, because between him and Moose, like, I don't know. Moose was, in my opinion, I thought he was a really good world champion for TNA. Anytime he's held the world title belt for Anthem under their ownership, like I feel like he's been great. It does make me intrigued to know, okay, what could have been there. And then obviously, Ace Steel is working in TNA. I don't know if he's still technically there. I don't remember, but I know he obviously went to TNA and he was working like backstage as a producer, agent type thing.
Obviously ties with CM Punk.
Obviously, yeah. So like, I don't know maybe what they would have done with TV and how they would have done it. And it's crazy to think about, man. CM Punk almost joined TNA instead of WWE, and
such a little interesting little tidbit that you had there, Ango.
Yeah. It's well, and then also too, like one thing I will say is, if that would have happened, then we wouldn't have had this amazing storyline with Punk and Drew, and what's happening with Punk and Roman and Seth. So like, it's so crazy. You never want to go back in time and change things, because things happen the way they're supposed to be, and it led us to this. But I will say it just would have been really, really interesting to see how different wrestling would be right now if he didn't.
For sure.
And by the way, like, people don't want to admit this, but if CM Punk never left AEW and they didn't have issues, who knows where AEW and WWE would be right now?
This is true. Who knows?
Yeah, very interesting stuff there. We did get a super chat from On Your Marks Lou. Sure. He dropped a $10 banger. Shout out to On Your Marks Lou. He says criteria for TV time in AEW: 1, be 50 plus former WWE talent. 2, be an unusual gimmick. 3, be able to do any type of flip. 4, be a luchador. 5, be from Japan. Did I miss anything?
Oh man, did he break it down for us?
I mean, where's the lie?
I mean, there's no lie. Number 1 is crazy.
Remember when I used to praise AEW for being like, man, they do a really good job with the legends and the older people?
Yeah.
Gotta change.
Has your mind changed?
Yeah, for sure.
No, Ango, your mind's not allowed to change. How could you ever be such a human?
Yeah. I have no problem with them signing talent from Japan or luchadors. I think that's cool. That's very that's fine with me. I think that there's a lot of great talent internationally, so I'm all for it. To be an unusual gimmick, I don't know. Most people don't even really have gimmicks in that company.
No, I mean, they don't.
I don't know.
Ever since I talked about it, I'm still stuck on the Anthony Bones thing and where's he at?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm still stuck on that, like in my head.
The biggest mistake they'll make is letting him go to WWE if that ever happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just like being very clear. If Anthony Bowens goes to WWE, he's going to shine in WWE. They will do very good things
because
with him.
I know the potential that he has. You've seen it, obviously. You noticed it too. So just wondering where he is and what happened.
You know who I miss?
Oh,
Scorpio Sky.
The
good times of SCU and AEW, man.
Oh, bro, that was so good. That was so good. Him and Christopher Daniels.
Oh,
Frankie Kazarian.
Oh, so good.
That was some good shit.
And then Kazarian left AEW, and he was very clear, like he wasn't about it, bro.
Yep.
Then we went to TNA, and he killed it in TNA.
Still killing it in TNA.
How they fucking ruined SCU, I have no idea.
No idea. None. Not a clue.
So you got guys like that. I know he got hurt.
You remember when AEW partnered with TNA?
Did it help TNA?
Nope.
Yeah, that's so sad to think about, bro. I miss when AEW. I miss when I loved AEW, bro.
Man,
just the thought of it. Scorpio Sky was so sick, bro.
Bro, he was.
SCU was so cool. And like, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I don't either, man. I really don't. But yeah, on your marks, Lou, to your super chat. I don't detect a single lie here.
I don't think there's anything wrong with 2, 3, 4, and 5.
No, they're all normal things. Like there's
being able to do a flip, being able to be a good in-ring worker. I have no problem with that. That's fine. That's your approach. I just want to get invested in your stories. And I think bringing in older WWE guys has not been really beneficial. And I love Bobby Lashley and stuff, but like
it just hasn't worked out in their favor right now. They used to do such a good job with the legends and stuff like that. They really did. Sucks.
Hooligan says that Anthony Bowens is injured. No, I understand he's injured, but even before injury, bro. That's the thing. Everybody brings up injuries, but why aren't we having conversations about guys before injuries?
Right. I see him talking about like Eddie Kingston too. Like, dude, how long is it? Yeah. Like,
there's some talk. What? I don't know if there's any truth to it. So let me be like perfectly clear on this. But Dr. Chris Prolific, that guy that's from Sportskeeda, came out with a tweet saying like sources are saying that Eddie Kingston is contemplating retirement or something. Really? He's not a fan of like the direction AEW is or whatever or something. I don't know. But Eddie Kingston is one of my favorites. And dude, when he showed up in AEW, he was so sick. And I love him in AEW. And then he obviously got hurt, which fucking really...
Him and CM Punk had a really good feud that one time.
Oh, Eddie Kingston has great feuds with everybody. His promos with everybody's
him
great.
And Moxley.
Oh, so good. I miss him.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't retire. I hope he shows up in AEW and wins the World Championship.
Yeah, me too, man.
That'd be sick.
I don't know, man. There was a time where AEW really shined.
This feels like so long time ago.
Yeah, I know, bro. But that's like what I hold on to, if I'm being quite honest, is those memories of AEW.
Sad,
it's like not that long ago. It's not that long ago. That's the crazy part. Is it feels like such a long time ago. They've only been around for what, 6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either, man. Crazy.
Well, I think that's if anybody has, I don't know if you guys have any more super chats, but if you guys have any more super chats, let's get those in. Yeah. And I did upload a video while we were live. It took a little bit longer to get uploaded, so you guys should definitely watch that. There's some good wrestling news out. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I actually have a in-depth video that if you guys want to go check out and put it out earlier, it's about what we talked about today with AEW.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't think there's any more super chats. If there's any more super chats, we'll give you guys a minute to go through. Going back to Eddie Kingston, I freaking miss him, bro.
So do I, man. I miss Eddie Kingston, SCU, miss them. I mean, so many. AEW was fire when they started, dude. When you like really look back at that time, amazing stuff. Even as the couple years like going on, from 2019 to 2021, 2022, a very special time. Very special.
People say it was only special because it was the honeymoon phase, but it was special because there was like, I don't know. I think they had their identity, and I think they changed their identity.
Yeah, for me, I had never seen like a lot of the people that were coming in because I was never like an independent wrestler. Like I didn't watch all the indies and stuff like that.
When they hired Mike Mansouri, the production guy from WWE, he was supposed to be the guy that took after Kevin Dunn. I think that really changed things for the company. I think they brought in too many WWE people. Bringing in Jimmy Jacobs was a big mistake. I mean, there's a long list of people.
I mean, you could go down a deep rabbit hole to find out where the mistake actually started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a deep rabbit hole that you could go through.
Last night was okay. It was all right.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible. It was not horrible.
With that being said, guys, it's 1:15 p.m. So we'll call it a stream. We'll be back tomorrow. And then hopefully I don't know if actually I will be live tomorrow, now that I think about it, because I'm leaving for Chicago. I don't know what time I'm leaving for Chicago. Right. Got a big trip ahead. But we'll see. I'll let you guys know. On Your Marks, Lou's coming through with the buzzer beater, $10 super chat. He says, I feel like TK's obsession with WWE really gets in the way of them being as successful as they could be. That's really what it is.
Yeah, it is.
No, that is. I mean, that is exactly what it is. It's, I think your obsession with being the challenger brand, and I've said this since day one, you want to be the challenger brand so bad. You want to be the competitor. That's fine. Shut up and do it with your good TV. And that's going to be the way to do it. Be so damn good that you're undeniable. Don't talk about how good you are. Don't talk about we're the best wrestle. Just let it be known, like, through your product, and they don't do that.
Yep.
So, and that's why I think WWE has taken... Excuse me. I think that's why WWE has kind of taken the world by storm, because they just do it. They just do it. Yeah. They're not focused on AEW. You can tell they're not focused on AEW.
No, not at all. They're doing their own thing. They live in their own bubble. That's what AEW needs to do. Live in your own bubble.
Yeah. Shout out to On Your Marks, Lou, for the super chat. Thank you guys all for showing up today. Thank you for all your love and all your support and all your super chats and all your likes. Shout out to everybody watching on TikTok as well. Shout out to everybody here in the chat. You guys keep the conversation going and you guys make it so fun. Shout out to Khalil Fleming as well in TikTok. Yeah, man, just like a really fun live stream. I don't know. I've been really enjoying the live streams, guys. And I'm really excited. So we'll see what happens. We'll be back tomorrow. And shout out to Billy. Show him some love. You guys can follow him and subscribe to him at Billy TKO. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.